Welcome back to session 4 of this chapter called The Living World. The scientific names are universal and the scientific names are one and same for the same organism throughout the world. How do we study all the plants? Is it possible for us to study all the plants together? A very, very important word to be learned. This whole unit is called as what? Taxa. Very important chapter called Animal Kingdom. Back to session 4 of this chapter, very important chapter called The Living World. I am B. Shobharani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. What did we learn in session 3, children? About the same chapter called Living World. We studied about what is nomenclature. Each one of us, as I said, have our own identity and we are identified by our names, right? And throughout our life, we are identified by our name. Each and every one has a particular name and each and every one is identified by their name. So identity means a lot for an individual person or for an individual organism. And we also studied about what is binomial nomenclature, and as I said, what is binomial nomenclature? Giving two names to one example is called binomial nomenclature, or it is otherwise called what? Scientific name, where the first name refers to what? Genus name and the second name refers to the species name. And we also studied about Carolus Linnaeus, who is the man behind this binomial nomenclature, and we also studied about many examples of the binomial nomenclature, the scientific names. As I said, what is the need for using the scientific names? What is the need for standardizing the names? It is because the local names or the local languages may cause confusion among the people, but the scientific names are universal and the scientific names are one and same for the same organism throughout the world. So it is universal. All that we studied in the last session, right? What are we going to study in today's session then? In today's session, we are going to study about a very, very important concept called classification. In today's session, we are going to study about a very important concept called classification. What is classification? I think all of us know there are millions of living organisms on this planet Earth, may it be plants or may it be animals. Can we identify all the plants and animals that are existing on this beautiful planet Earth? Is it possible for us? Definitely not, because there are a variety of organisms. As you know, a variety of organisms live in different habitats. Like we have aquatic animals, we have terrestrial animals, we have aerial animals. So even the habitat varies from an organism to organism. So it is very difficult for us to know about all the organisms together. Then what is that which makes the study of these organisms quite easy? The answer for this question is classification. That is classification. Classification is the answer for all this. That is only through classification. Classification also be called as what? Grouping. By grouping the plants and animals based on their habitat, based on their food habits, etc., definitely we'll be able to learn about all these organisms. If not, it is very difficult for us to study about all the plants and animals together. The only means of studying these animals is through a very important concept called classification. And what is the basis for classification? Certain similarities, certain dissimilarities, phylogenetic characters, that is the point of origin is taken into consideration. All these parameters are taken for classification, right? And this classification will enable the systematic grouping of an organism, not just classifying the organism in a haphazard manner. Systematically grouping this organism is called as what? Classification, right? So to identify the particular organism, classification classification is one of the very important criteria. As I said, classification is very much required for the grouping of the organisms. Then only we'll be able, for example, like fishes. Fish is an aquatic animal. What about frog? Frog is an amphibian which lives both on land as well as on water. Then monkey. Monkey is an aerial, arboreal animal which lives on the trees. So how do we identify these different types of animals based on their different habitats? It is the classification. How do we classify the organisms into terrestrial? All the organisms which live on land are called terrestrial animals, and all the animals which can survive only in water are called as aquatic animals. For example, like fish. Can fish survive on land? No. For example, man, can we survive in water? No. We are terrestrial animals, whereas fish is an aquatic animal. So by grouping the plants and animals like this, then definitely we can study about the plants and animals. If not, definitely the study of so many varieties of plants and animals that are existing on this planet Earth is quite impossible. The only means of studying is through classification. So what is classification then? It is the process where the organisms are grouped into convenient categories. That is, what is the process all about? It is a process where the organisms are grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. That is based on some easily observable characters. May it be similarities, may it be dissimilarities, or it might be phylogenetic character, right? Morphological character. As I said, morphological character means what? Outward appearance. Say all these parameters are considered to classify very systematically the plants and animals. Systematic classification is very, very important. So to study about all the living organism, a necessary device is nothing but the classification. So what is the significance or importance of classification? Classification or grouping is the only means of assigning a particular organism to its respective category. Then the study will be quite easy. So what is classification? Then otherwise, that it is a process where the organisms are grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. As I said, fish, how it has fins for locomotion, and like for example, terrestrial animals have legs for locomotion. So like that we have lungs for respiration, whereas the fishes have gills for respiration. So based on certain characteristic features, we group the animals, and that is how we are able to study them separately. If not, as I said, it would have been definitely a difficult task to study about all the living organisms. As I said, classification is the only means or is the only device that is going to help to classify or group the organisms into respective category very systematically. For example, like when we come across plants, do you think there is one or two plants? There are millions of varieties of plants. How do we study all the plants? Is it possible for us to study all the plants together? Definitely not. When we group the plants, for example, like we group the plants into bryophytes, pteridophytes, then we group them into algae, and we group them into non-flowering plants, flowering plants, then non-flowering plants into spore-bearing plants, and as you know, non-flowering plants are also called gymnosperms. Flowering plants are also called angiosperms. 3/4 of the plants that are existing on this planet Earth are what? Angiosperms. Flowering plants. See the beauty of flowers, right? Are we not mesmerized by the beauty of the flower and the colorful flowers? Definitely we are attracted towards the flowers because of its beauty. And imagine the aesthetic value it is going to cause. So the beauty of nature lies in flowers, children, right? So flowering plants are called angiosperms. Again, I think you might have come across all the cereal crops, that is the rice, wheat, ragi, barley, jowar. All these are called monocots. How are they classified? Based on single cotyledon. Dicotyledon pulses like groundnut, right? All pulses are dicots. How are they identified? They are identified by their two cotyledons. So like this, classification will enable the study of either the plants or the animals quite easy. So classification is one such criteria which is going to answer all the problems in grouping the plants or the animals in a very systematic manner. So classification is very, very important. So what is it? To identify about a particular organism, classification is one of the important criteria. So what is this classification otherwise? It is a process where the organism are grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. To study about all the living organism, a necessary device is required, and what is that device otherwise called? Classification. As I said, we classify either the plants or the animals into different categories based on easily observable characters or based on similarities or dissimilarities, that is the mode of living, the habitat or phylogenetic characters. All these are considered, all these are the parameters or the factors which are considered for systematic classification. Hence the scientific term or each category is called, or a step is called, or we call it as a step or a rank. Each unit of classification is called as a step or a rank, or it is otherwise called category or a taxon. For example, I think I have explained what is Homo sapien. This is called genus, first name, and this is called, the second name is called species. So genus and species is nothing but a rank, or this is also called as a taxon. So what is a taxon then? A taxon is nothing but a unit of classification. You can also use the word called category. It is a unit of classification, or it is otherwise called what? It is otherwise called category, right? So hence the scientific term for each category or step or rank is called taxon, and many such categories are called as what? Taxa. Taxon is the individual unit of classification. The group of the units put together, they are called as taxa. Then what is taxon then? As I said just now, a taxonomic group of any rank such as species or family or a class or a genus is called as what? Taxon. I told you, this is called as what? Rank. Either you can call it as rank or a taxon or a category. So each unit of classification is called as a rank, or it is otherwise called as a taxon. So living organisms are classified into different taxa, and this process is called what? Taxonomy, or it is otherwise called systematics. A very, very important word to be learned. So what is taxonomy, or what is systematics, right? So what is taxon? A taxonomic group of any rank such as species, family, class or a genus. Then living organisms are classified into different taxa, and this process is called what? Taxonomy. Taxonomy can also be called as classification. Systematics can also be called as classification. See all this means the same, grouping. This also means what? Grouping. Grouping them into different category. So the word systematic is derived from a Latin word called systema, hence the name systematic. Classification of plants is called systematic botany. What does systematic botany deal with? Classification of only plants. Classification of only plants is called systematic botany. What is systematic zoology? Systematic zoology deals with the classification of only animals. Systematic means what? Classification. So the word systematic is derived from the Latin word by name systema, which means what? Systematic arrangement of organisms. It's a very, very important point to be noted. Systematic arrangement, simply haphazardly it is not arranged, or it is not classified. Systematically it is arranged. So what do you call that systematic units of arrangement as? You call it as what? Taxon. Taxon can also be called as what? It can also be called as a rank. It can be called as a category. right? So it means the same. Taxon is nothing but what? It is a unit of classification. And Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. So he wrote a book called Systemae Naturae, and the title of that book was what? Systemae Naturae. And while classifying the living organism, several taxa of an organism are arranged in the ascending order, and that means of ascending order is called what? Taxonomic hierarchy. You will understand this better in the next slide. What is taxonomic hierarchy? So what is taxonomic hierarchy? It's a very, very important definition. What is taxonomic hierarchy? Taxonomy means what? Grouping, classification. Hierarchy means actually species are taken into, species are the units of classification. Species are the basic units of classification. Without species can we classify? Without man can we group him into a different genus, different order, different class, different family, different phylum, different kingdom? No, it's very, very difficult. So just like students are very important for a school and a college. Without students, what is the use of the building? What is the use of teachers? Just like in the present scenario, I think you might have come across, because of this coronavirus pandemic, the schools and colleges are closed. Only the buildings are existing, but there are no children. So imagine how important the students are for a school and college. So in a similar way, species are the basic units of classification. Without species, we cannot classify at all. So what is that arrangement of the species, the arrangement of the organisms in? It's in the ascending order. From like this, it goes to ascending order, and that is called taxonomic hierarchy, from lower to higher, right? Now I think you will understand better with this picture, right? So what is taxonomic hierarchy? The orderly placement of an organism into its respective taxon is called Linnaean hierarchy, or it is called taxonomic hierarchy. Why it is called Linnaean hierarchy? It was again proposed by Carolus Linnaeus. Hence it is called Linnaean hierarchy. Why it is called taxonomical hierarchy? Here, as I said, each one is called as a taxon. Each unit is called as a taxon. This whole unit is called as what? Taxa. All these units of classification put together, you use the word called taxa. So each unit of classification, we use the word called what? Taxon, or we use the word called category, or we use the word called rank. Just like first rank, second rank, each one has what? Category. So each unit of classification is called as what? Is called as a taxon, or it is called as a category, or it is otherwise called as what? Rank. Right? As I said, species is the basic unit of classification. Without this, can you do this classification? No, never. So species are the basic units of classification. Without man, can we keep on classifying? You'll understand better with the next slide, right? So species is the basic unit of classification, and orderly, that is the orderly placement of an organism into its respective taxon is called Linnaean hierarchy. Why it is called Linnaean hierarchy? Because this Linnaean hierarchy was proposed, this taxonomical hierarchy was proposed by whom? Carolus Linnaeus, hence the name Linnaean hierarchy, or it is otherwise called taxonomic hierarchy. So here, as I said, species is the basic unit of classification. Species. What is species? It's a group of similar organisms which interbreed among themselves. It is a group of organisms which can interbreed among themselves and produce what? Fertile offsprings. How do we define species? We can also call it as what? Basic unit of classification. And it is a group of organisms which can interbreed among themselves and produce what? Fertile offspring. What do you mean by fertile offspring? That which has the capacity to reproduce further. Such group of organisms, you use the word called species. Right? Group of species make a genus. Group of similar species make a genus. Group of similar genus make a family. Group of similar family make an order. Group of similar order make a class. And group of similar class make a phylum. In animals we use the word called phylum, and in case of plants we use the word called division. Right? And group of similar phylum or division make a kingdom. Right? So this is called linear hierarchy, or it is called taxonomic hierarchy. It goes like this. Right? From species, whenever we write, we don't write first kingdom. First we have to take into consideration what? Species. Without species, can we write this linear hierarchy? No, not possible. So this is called 7 taxonomical units. 7 taxonomical units. This is called 7 taxonomical units. It goes like this. First is what? Kingdom. Then next comes what? Kingdom, phylum, next class, next order, next family, next genus, next species. So whenever we write 2, but when we write, we should write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So what are the 7 types? Writing this pattern is called linear hierarchy, or it is called taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy. Hope you have understood. This is a very important concept from examination point of view. So this way of writing the different taxonomical units is called taxonomic hierarchy, which starts with what? Species. Species, as I said, is the basic unit of classification, or it is a group of similar organisms which can interbreed among themselves and produce what? Fertile offspring. Similar group of species make a genus. Similar group of genus make a family. Similar group of family make an order. Similar group of order make a class, and similar group of class make a phylum or a division, and similar group of phylum or a division make a kingdom. Hope you have understood this taxonomic hierarchy. You will understand better with certain examples in the next slide. So this is the organisms with the taxonomy categories. So here 4 examples are given. One is man, second one is housefly, third is mango, fourth is wheat. So this is how the taxonomic units comes. So here, see, when we write the scientific name, we write it like this. So it goes like this. First, man. Common name is what? Man. Man belongs to which kingdom? Animalia. Man belongs to which phylum? Chordata. You know, Chordata, man belongs to Chordata because chordate characters are what? We have a backbone, vertebral column, which is a supporting structure. We have a dorsal tubular nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits. Because of these presence of these 3 very important characters, we are classified into chordates. And we belong to which class? Mammalia. So man belongs to kingdom Animalia. See here you can see the units. Kingdom, phylum, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As I said, 7 taxonomical units. Writing this like this is called what? Linear hierarchy, or it is called taxonomic hierarchy. It is called taxonomic hierarchy. How it goes? For man, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia. Why man is assigned to class Mammalia? Mammary, as you know, that is, the mammals are characterized by the presence of mammary glands which produce milk, and that milk is used for feeding the young ones. So mammals have certain characteristic features. So man is assigned to Mammalia. Then which order? Primates. It is classified to which order? Primate. I told you, no? Similar group of species make a genus. Similar group of genus make a family. Similar group of family make an order. Similar group of order make a class. Similar group of class make a phylum or a division. And similar group of phylum make a kingdom. So primates, hominidae. We belong to which family? Hominidae. Genus, as you know, what is the scientific name of man? Homo sapien. So sapien is what? Species name. And Homo is what? Genus name. And this is species name. As I said, Homo, genus name should be written in capital letter, and the species name should start with a small letter followed by small letters. So this is the systematic classification of man. So once again, I repeat, what is the systematic position of man? This is called systematic position. Man belongs to which kingdom? Animalia. Belongs to which phylum? Chordata. To which class? Mammalia. Order? Primata. Family? Hominidae. Genus? Homo. Species? Sapiens. So when we write, we should write like this. Sapien first, next Homo, next Hominidae, next Primates, next Mammalia, next Chordata, next Animalia, next common name should be, that is, the common name should be written here at the end, not in the beginning, right? So this is how we write the systematic position. So whenever we write the systematic position, kingdom, phylum, next is phylum, third is what? Third is what? Class, fourth is what? Order, fifth is what? Family, sixth is what? Genus, seventh is what? Species. So this whole thing we call it as what? Taxonomic hierarchy. So this is how you write for man. We'll go for the second example. Common, that is housefly. Housefly also belongs to which kingdom? Animalia. Arthropoda. Housefly belongs to Arthropoda class Insecta. It is belonging to a very, and as you know, Arthropoda is the first largest phylum of the animal kingdom. Maximum number of organisms that we find on this planet Earth are arthropods. Why? Next, because they have better survival rate. They can survive in almost all habitats. Maybe even in the extreme climatic conditions, they are able to survive. Because of their high survival rate, we find them in almost all habitats and more in number. Hence, we call Arthropoda as the first largest phyla of the animal kingdom. So, housefly belongs to kingdom Animalia, belongs to phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Diptera, family Muscidae, then genus Musca domestica. See the scientific name of housefly. Scientific name of housefly is Musca domestica. Same like how we write, this is the systematic. This writing like this is called systematic position. Systematic position. This is asked in exam. Write the systematic position of man. How do we write? Man belongs to kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Primata or Primates, family Hominidae, genus Homo, and species Sapien. For housefly, it belongs to kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, then this is order Diptera, family Muscidae, genus Musca, species Domestica. Right? We'll go for one more example, that is mango. Mango does not belong to Animalia. It belongs to which group of plants? Called Plantae. And it belongs to Angiospermae. As I said, there are two groups of plants existing on this planet Earth. That is the flowering plants and the non-flowering plants. Non-flowering plants are gymnosperms. Flowering plants are angiosperms. So, mango belongs to Angiospermae. Dicotyledonate, two cotyledons. Then Sapindalis, order is Sapindales. Then family Anacardiaceae. Then genus is Mangifera and species name is Indica. How do we write the systematic position for mango? Mango belongs to which kingdom? Plantae. Phylum Angiospermae. Here we use the word called, instead of phylum, we use the word called division. Kingdom Plantae is divided into two divisions. That is what? Gymnospermae and Angiospermae. So here phylum or division. So division Angiospermae, class Dicotyledonate, order Sapindales, family Anacardiaceae, genus Mangifera, species Indica. Now that we'll go for the last example, wheat. Wheat belongs to kingdom Plantae, division. Again here we use the word called division. That is Angiospermae, class Monocotyledone, order Poales, family Poaceae. So you can make out here always the families end with the suffix or the last word ca. Plants, particularly the families in plants, end with the word called ca, and in animals you can see here the last word family ends with ae. That is another indication for identifying the families. Ca in case of plants and ae in case of animals. Poaceae. Genus is Triticum, species is Aestivum. So this is a very important concept from examination point of view. Any one will be asked in exam. Definitely they will ask any one of the examples and ask you to write this systematic, this way of writing the 7 taxonomical units in an orderly manner is called systematic position. They might ask systematic position of man, or systematic position of housefly, or systematic position of mango or wheat. So what is this for man? Kingdom Animalia, Chordata, Mammalia, Primata, Hominidae, Homo sapien. For housefly, Kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Diptera, family Muscidae, genus Musca, species Domestica. For mango, so 2 examples from animals and 2 examples from plants. These are 2 examples from animals and these are the 2 examples from plants. So mango belongs to kingdom Plantae. Division, here we use the word called what? Division. Here also we use the word called division. For plants we use the word called division. For animals we use the word called phylum. Anyhow, all this you are going to study in the next very important chapter called Animal Kingdom, right? So here Mammalia, Primata, Hominidae, Homo sapien. Here Arthropoda, Insecta, Diptera, Muscidae, Musca, Domestica. For mango, kingdom Plantae, division Angiospermae, class Dicotyledone, order Sapindales, family Anacardiaceae, genus Mangifera, species is Indica. Here for wheat, kingdom Plantae, that is division Angiospermae, class Monocotyledone, order Poales, family Poaceae, genus Triticum and species is Aestivum. All the 4 examples are very important from examination point of view. Definitely any one will be asked in the exam. So you need to practice writing this. What do you call this manner of writing this taxonomical categories? It is called systematic position. Or it is also called as what? Taxonomic hierarchy. Right? Hope you have understood what is taxonomic hierarchy, what is classification, how do we write the taxonomic categories for different examples, may it be for man, may it be for housefly, may it be for mango or for wheat. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in today's session. I hope all the concepts are quite interesting for you all. As I said, biology is one such subject which is quite interesting, and the concepts are like that which will create interest in oneself. And as I said, biology is not only restricted to the book, it is around us and within us. So let us enjoy the study of biology. Hope you have understood all the concepts what I have explained in today's session. So I'll be coming with some more concepts of the same chapter called Living World in the coming session. Till then, goodbye and thank you.